The following podcast is rated G for gammon. Please be aware it may contain some coarse language and is not suitable for children or gammon audiences. Hello, welcome back to them yarns. And just on time, my dogs are wrestling in the background. So,
yes, the Blackers podcast continues.
This week, Aaron has a new podcast arm, but you know, it's still as ghetto as you get because you've got two little hard-headed dogs in the background fighting around. So
Yeah. My dog was trying to come through. I'm like, no, get out of here.
we really are turning into a community here. It's just dogs everywhere.
Mission dogs running around.
Oh my goodness. How was your reconciliation week, brother?
Yeah, it was good. Busy. You know, we had a few events at work. Did some stuff outside of that as well. So yeah, nice little reconciliation week. Nothing too crazy. How about you?
Yeah, it was pretty flat. I think we have to acknowledge that, you know, a brother boy passed away in reconciliation week, and that was it for me. I didn't want to celebrate or even think about reconciliation week. So just want to say that, yeah.
I was thinking about that. So I was going through my FB memories, Facebook memories for those who aren't cool. And literally the day before or the day after, one of my memories was talking about a death in custody of a black fella and how police officers shouldn't investigate themselves. And talking out of school, like I was within the QPS for a little while, for a few years, doing whatever I was doing, and I can really see how that internal culture can lead to this sort of stuff when you're investigating your mates and whatever. Mm-hmm. We don't have the same thing as the US where, you know, they hate the people who investigate them because they're an external body or whatever. Or in some countries there's an external body. In Australia, it's literally we investigate ourselves. And that's rubbish. And
it happens so often that it becomes semi-normalized, which it shouldn't. Every other week is a death in custody, and it's just not good enough that it happens. And I think this country is so outraged by the dumbest things, which we're going to talk about on this episode, like, oh, welcome to country. We hate that. We have actual bigger problems. I think I want to acknowledge that before we jump into this topic, and not to downplay welcome to country, but in our community, we have so many things, so many heavy things that we're dealing with, that when people kick the boot in for other things that are just, that we find something nice in our culture that we can share and celebrate, you know, it's such a turn off, you know, because we've just got this heavy stuff we're dealing with, and black deaths in custody is probably the heaviest.
Yeah, and I think like this is probably a podcast in itself, and obviously people who are doing that, but you also had that young Canberra Corey kid where the police officer, you know, is getting checked into the watch house, and he says, have you ever tried attempted suicide? And trigger warning. The kid says no, and then the copper says, yeah, you wouldn't have the guts to do it anyway.
Yeah.
Like, these people know they're being recorded. This is not a drill. This is not like some new thing. We've had cameras in watch houses for 30, 40 years now in Queensland. We've had body cams now for nearly 15 to 20 years. And so this isn't anything new. These cops know that body cams are on. They know that there's footage and audio of this. And this is how they're behaving. So imagine how they're behaving when the cameras aren't on.
And we all, I think, as Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander people, have had instances with police, whether through ourselves or through a family member or community member. We have seen those interactions, those racist interactions. And I can also say, you know, I've met some pretty okay cops in my time, but majority of the time, I've seen the bad side of it, unfortunately. And when we see one black death in custody after another at the hands of the justice system, your faith in everything just goes out the window. So you do take that view of, yeah, you know what? I hate cops. I hate this. I hate that, because you get that anger. What is the answer to that? I think that's huge. It's massive. It's bigger than us. But I just wanted to acknowledge that in Reconciliation Week this year. Just before we recorded our last episode, a young disabled Aboriginal man died up in Alice Springs while being arrested. So, yeah, we'll talk about this, I'm sure, in future and unpack it a little bit more. Obviously, I want to be sensitive to the topic and I want to make sure that we do it justice. But that was Reconciliation Week, brother. Did you do any welcome to countries? Because I want to talk about this. I was out of the country when the whole welcome to country stuff was happening here in Australia. And now that it's settled down a little bit, let's unpack it.
Let's discuss. All right, get the tea ready. Nah, gammon. So I work in Meanjin in Brisbane, and so one of our events we got some Yagara mob in to do a welcome, and they were deadly. He spoke deadly about culture, and then they did the song, and they were doing the dances, and the dances were, sometimes when you see mob dancing. And they're just there because Uncle Arnie said, "Get on there and dance now." You know what I mean? Like, they don't actually want to be there dancing. Yeah. They're shy, or they don't really know the moves, or whatever. And they're just like, "Oh,
yeah,
I've got to be here dancing," and it's a bit slack.
Yeah,
like these lads were deadly. Like they were getting proper into it. Them stomps were, stomps were stomping. The shakes were shaking. The animals look like actual animals rather than just somebody rolling the ground. So
stop it.
I don't want to disrespect some dancers because I'm not the best dancer, but you can always tell the difference between mob who are passionate about it and a mob who have been taught, once you start doing this dance, you do it properly.
Yeah.
Another mob who are like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, we need numbers, right?
Yeah. They're like, hey, come on, Bruss. Or, you're going to get out there and dance or you're going to get a flogging. Like, okay. That's how some of the mob look sometimes, but that would deadly. So, and for me, I guess, not living on country for nearly 15, 16 years now, I don't really get the opportunity to do welcomes as much as I would like to. When I was back home, obviously I like to talk. It's probably no surprise to anybody because I'm on a podcast, but so that was one of the things that I did for the mob back home.
Yeah,
I'd go to the events and do that sort of stuff. But obviously down here I'm doing acknowledgements. But I think what you missed, and one of the points I wanted to make to any non-Indigenous people that are listening to this, and if this might be a hot take or whatever, but there were people who were more disrespected by a welcome to country than they were Nazis at a Anzac Day parade. And that's the thing I couldn't get. I understand that you might not appreciate Aboriginal culture, but on Anzac Day, when we're fighting literal Nazis, you're more worried about the traditional culture on the land that you're living on. You're more worried about that being practiced than you are about literal Nazis being at Anzac Day and they're the one leading the booing.
In the crowd with you.
In the crowd with you. They're proud Australians, they're fighting. And one lad was saying, I'm fighting, they fought for white Australia. The Anzacs fought for white Australia. The one guy goes, then what about all the brown people that were fighting?
Yeah.
Were they fighting for white Australia? You know what I mean? They just got no... they got no sense to be Nazis in the first place. But that's the one point that I can never understand, and I made this point in a social media post. I was like, if you're more worried about a welcome to country than you are Nazis, then you're just as racist as they are, and that triggered a lot of people.
Yeah, I think welcome to country has slowly been this debate that's been happening, and it's not been by black fellas again. It's been by white conservatives and just people just catching on to the trend to hate something that's black again. But I think also though in circles, let's be real, just in some black circles, I think we all have our conversations about welcome to country and acknowledgements, and that's no tea, right? Let's be honest. We all sit together and we'll all have that yarn. Which way that welcome, which way that acknowledgement, because there's always someone that goes on for too long, someone that hasn't done it properly, or what the hell kind of welcome was that? Or these are conversations we have, but the fact that we're leading these together, right? And we're all having them within our community, which is a healthy conversation to have, right?
Yes.
There is no law to be critical to our own culture with each other, right? So we can do that, but it's in a way of I don't know, it's our own critique, right? It's our own
We want it.
reflection.
We want it. Yeah, we want it to be better. We're
We
not.
want it to be
We're
better.
not. We're not trying to get rid of it. We're just saying, Uncle is lost. Everybody. This is 17 minutes of a welcome. This is supposed to be 3 to 5. You can get in
Yes,
there.
yes. I think where it's okay. Let's just try and first of all, when I was out of the country, can I say how nice it was not to be here in the country
True.
when all that was happening?
Because like you felt, obviously you were just focused on walking up that hill and stuff.
Was focused on trying to get up European steps. It was a hard time. I just wanted to be alive. No, but for me, and this is really sad, but I have to be honest about it. The only time I ever really feel peace from the racism of this country is when I leave it.
Yeah, preach.
And it is the only time that you get to be that feeling of oppression. And if you're listening and you're a mob and you've never been overseas, you won't know what I mean. And go and experience it. Just go out of the country just once or twice. And that oppression of being like in Australia in this place where every other week we have something going on, deaths in custody, Nazis bullying our mob, this and that. It's so oppressive that when you leave, you feel a sense of peace. And it shouldn't be like that. It really shouldn't.
No,
I'm not saying I enjoy that. I'm just saying that's how it is. So it was quite nice, though, I will say, when all of this stuff was happening with Welcome to Country and the booing and the Anzac Day and the election on top of it. I was not here. And I detached a bit. I took a break off social media and I just enjoyed my holiday.
I can see how that would be. I can see how that would be a relief to not have that, because it was 24/7. The thing that made it worse was then it happened, and then certain political people started then using that as collateral to try to get votes. They're like, well, look at this anger that we can now use against blackfellas to try, Labor will make Welcome to Countries worth $10,000 a piece. Like, could you imagine getting paid $10,000 to talk for 2 minutes? Like, if that's happening every time I do a Welcome to Country, I'm moving home and retiring.
Truly.
Like,
If that's happening.
Why would I need a job? I would just go do a Welcome to Country, get paid $10,000 once a month.
That's crazy.
And like, all right, peace out, homeboy. Like,
Yeah.
what do I need to work for? Like, I don't understand how people. Like, we don't see black fellas driving BMWs and blah blah everywhere. Like, if they think we're getting paid that much money,
why are we still oppressed?
why are we
That's
still
all I
oppressed?
wanna
Like,
know.
why do I still have a mortgage?
So where has the Welcome to Country, where has that changed for us? For me, when I think about Welcome to Country, it was probably when the money started coming into it. So when corporates or football games and like big crowds, when the money factor started coming in is when the attitudes around Welcome to Country started. But why is it that people get paid, Aaron Nagus, for a Welcome to Country?
I think it's because of cultural knowledge, right? Like, we're paying the person who does everything else. So why would you not pay for something that's connecting you to this country, and this knowledge has been connecting you to this country for 60,000 years? It's just that's a really good question. I don't think we let anybody do things for free, and I don't see why black fellows should work for free. Like, if we're sharing culture with you and we're sharing, I do get sometimes why people do see some Welcome to Countries and like, oh, why did we just pay for that?
Yeah.
That was gammon. But I think that's what we're talking about. Like, we hold ourselves to account too. Like, we're like, come on, sis, like, really? Like, you just come in here and you literally said 3 words and then walked out. Like, that was a bit gammon. So I do see there being those people who are not contributing to the standard, but proper Welcome to Countries, connecting you to that space and that place and giving you that, even if you don't understand the spiritual connection to what we're talking about, that's what you're getting. And that's why it's important, right? Like, that's what we're saying. Like, this is literally continuing this cultural and spiritual connection to this country that we've always had, and we're bringing you along as part of that, even if you don't deserve it.
Yeah, we're too generous. We are sometimes, as mob, we're too generous. We will still welcome people to our country who really don't deserve it. And I don't think we should. I think we need to at some point stop doing welcome to countries for people. Just because they request it or someone's going to pay you, you should also say, no, actually, I don't feel if you're that person that you deserve it. No, I'm
Yeah.
not going to welcome you to this
Or,
place.
or charge them more.
Charging more though, how are you going to sleep at night with that? Like for example, if Pauline Hanson magically came up and said all of a sudden, hey, can you welcome me to your country, Aaron? What, are you going to charge her more or are you just going to refuse it? What are you going to do?
Good question. I would send my brokest family member to do it. So you need this money more than anybody.
No, see, cop out,
Get over
bro.
there and do it.
But this is what I mean. Why aren't
I'm
we
not
doing
doing
it? If you don't feel comfortable in it, then don't do it. And sometimes I think we really are too generous, and we need to start just pulling back a bit and going, nah, well, stuff yous. I'm not gonna welcome you. But maybe that's just me being gully. Not everyone needs to be like me, but we are very generous.
I see your point. I do see the point. There is situations, like when mob are getting booed, that's not a safe place to be, and it's not a nice place to be when somebody's booing you when you're taking the time to share your culture. Even if you're being paid, you don't deserve to be booed while you're doing that and having abuse hurled at you while you're doing your job.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I see your point, but I also think for some people, there's going to be some people in that place that appreciate it. So when I saw this conversation, somebody else said it online. He was like, "Black fellas need to stop doing welcome to country at sporting events if they're gonna act like that." And I said, you're hearing a small percentage of the crowd boo, but you're not hearing the people who are not booing, who are appreciating it, or the young kids there that are that becoming the norm. So I think for me, when I think about welcome to country, and this is off a different track, but for me, when I think about welcome to country, I think about how Gammon the Haka used to be when white fellas were doing it. You know what I mean? If you don't know what I'm talking about, there's some black and white footage of the white New Zealand team before they become the All Blacks.
Oh, God.
They're a rugby team, and they used to do it as a performance for when they're going to before the Queen or something. So they do the dance, they do the haka, and it is the most uncoordinated, out of timed rubbish I've ever seen in my life. And I see how that was, but it became so embedded as part of their culture now that people around the world are really connecting with that. And I don't think Welcome to Country has that same impact because of the passion is different. But I do think that's how I see that behaving. If we're doing this properly, if blackfellas, if we're committing to saying we've got to do the Welcome to Country in the spirit that it's intended, not just do it because I'm getting paid $50 to be here. You know what I mean? That's the difference for me. And then once you start doing with the passion and the culture that it's intended, then people come on board with that.
Yeah. I think that, you know what, I have to say, any of the football welcomes, and this is not down to any of the mob that do it, but the welcome to country concept at football in general is really, it's disjointed to me because they go, please welcome such and such from such and such tribal clan to do the welcome to country, followed by the Australian national anthem. So it goes Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander flags, and then this big flag of Australia flag, and then
shut
the
up.
change is it's so disjointed and just so performative, and I don't like it. I've seen some horrible welcome to countries and the football. Especially our capital city in New South Wales. We won't say.
Oh my goodness!
But
we're not going to say what city it is. But bloody
dear
hell.
me, that's when you go, come on, that's cringe, man. That's shame job,
And that's what I'm talking. Partly what I'm talking about. So there are particular places that have sort of changed it, so it's become more of a business sense.
Yeah.
And so it's gone away from the connection to culture that is traditional custodians welcoming you to their country because they're connected to that country by their spirit and by their culture and by their lineage and by their blood. It's not like some, whatever, I always say, it's not like I'm going to go to New Zealand and be like, welcome to New Zealand, my home, blah, blah, blah. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to go to Brisbane and do that.
No.
So when you got mob who have turned it into a business because the demand is so high that they know that they can make money from it. So then they got people from other countries welcoming people, especially at major events, that's watching on international and national TV. Like that's disrespectful to culture,
Yeah.
and that is not the spirit that it's intended to, because that's going to get you the bone pointed at you. That's not going to get you anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's disrespectful.
You know, I think like when I think of where I'm from, and when we've always been told to talk to country, to when when someone's coming, you're going to welcome them or you're going to bring them home. That it's not also about, oh, you're coming to my country and this is that, because I think that's where people get upset about it, right? They go, oh well, I've lived here all my life. Why do I have to be welcome to my country? It's
Don't
not
welcome me to Australia. It's my country too.
it's not
Okay,
actually
bro.
that. For like, and I can only just speak to me, but I know this would probably resonate with a lot of other mob. When I'm bringing somebody home, or when someone's coming into my country, as in where I've grown up, where my lineage is, my ancestors, we've been here walking long before anything, and I'm following in those footsteps, and now it's my responsibility to welcome you. But it's also for you to be acknowledged by my ancestors who are standing there with me watching you. And it's about safety. That's what it's actually about. It's about spiritual safety, because our ancestors are still on that place and they know that there's someone new coming in. So they want to know who you are. So we're not introducing you for the fun of it. It is this whole place. Yes, I might be standing here and a few people in this crowd might be standing here and we're welcoming you, but there are generations of people, spiritual people that are here, that belong here, and they're recognizing you.
And they're always going to be there. They're always going to be here. That's why we always need to do it.
It's our practice. It's our cultural practice, and that's what it should be, right? And I think when we talk about local mob getting, that might not be in the football stands, getting the acknowledgement or whoever, people are taking time out of their day, out of their jobs to come and do welcome to country. So these people don't do this full time. Our people are taking time out of their day to come and welcome people on their land. So there might be a few people that, yes, this is like they're part of a corporation or they're part of a bigger group that, are getting more funding because they're in a bigger capital city where there's more events and more things happening and more time needed to do these things. But the average blackfellow, we're taking time out to come and do this. And yeah, it means, we might need to take a bit of money so we can follow up the time that we've missed at work to do it.
Yeah. And also, we're literally sharing culture with you that is not the oldest living culture in the world. Like, this stuff isn't like you can just go to McDonald's and buy it. It's within you when you're living on country, and we're trying to support you so that you can live here safely too. The funny thing for me, and I shouldn't laugh, but when I see black fellas talking about Ernie Dingo creating the welcome to country, like that's when I know that you've internalized the racism and you're not connected to your culture. You know what I mean? I was like, and I'm used to non-Indigenous people talking about it. That's all they got. Ernie Dingo made this up in the 70s when he was at a Perth concert, and some Polynesian dancers were there, and they said, we're not going to do it without being welcomed, and so Ernie just made it up. And Ernie's like, what? Like, I made up a welcome to country? Like, what are you talking about? And then you got, like Mob and NT saying, we've been singing these same songs for 10,000 years. Like, what's Ernie going to tell us?
And it may not have always been called welcome to country,
Obviously, we made it a bit wider because we had to make it more acceptable for you. We don't want to share everything. We don't want to share everything with you. Like, you don't get to have all of Aboriginal culture just because you live here. Like, you get what we give you. You don't get to have everything.
Preach, brah. Honestly, preach. And I can say this as someone who, they go, especially this time of the year, right? We've got Reconciliation Week, we've got NAIDOC Week. Can you come in? Can your dance group come in? Could you come and do a talk on, could you share some language? Could you do some weaving in my thing? And, if you go, oh, actually, there's no one in this area that can do that. And they go, oh, you know why? Because white fellas came here and you made us all stop it. Okay, you made everyone in our community, my great-grandparents included, you're not allowed to speak your language, you're not allowed to practice your culture, you're not allowed to do weaving practices, you're not allowed to do this. And now, after all these years of these things just sleeping and not being spoken or woven or danced. Now you expect that we can perform all of these things that our generation
Just
and under,
oh, we got it back again. We just like
apparently.
click your fingers. Oh,
Click.
now we're back again. It's fine.
But
All
you,
the 10,000 years of culture has just magically
mm,
gone into my brain. I didn't
mm.
have to relearn it at all.
But surely you can say hello in your language. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's this type of ignorance that we need to unpack and go, well, how do you think that people who weren't allowed to do their cultural practice for so long can now just magically turn it on, and that we're willing to share it all with you? No, not every bit of culture is for you.
Yeah.
We will share what we want to share. And Welcome to Country is very generous considering what has been taken from us.
Welcome to Country is very generous considering we're still having National Reconciliation Week.
Yeah, I think it's a big topic. I'm really kind of glad I wasn't here, like I said, for it, but it doesn't mean that it goes away, because I think this is just going to be this ongoing issue. Hopefully people just reflect on it a little bit, and our mob can actually do welcomes with some passion. Don't just take the paycheck, and do a welcome where it is actually warranted. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I agree. The responsibility is on us to connect to culture and make sure we're actually doing it for the reasons that our old people want us to do it. That's how I feel also about acknowledgements. So, I do acknowledgement workshops, and when we're talking about it, I'm like, this thing you're talking to is not the land. Like you're talking to the whole place. You're talking to me. You're talking to you. You're talking to the ground. You're talking to the tree. You're talking to the sky, the wind. Like every time you're acknowledging it, you're talking to all of that, because that's where the old people are. They're always here. So it's not that you're saying, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land, la la la. Like you're literally acknowledging that the very place you're right now has always been that country, and the old people are still there. And that's what you're acknowledging.
Can I say that raps have a lot to answer for in terms of acknowledgement to country? Can we say that? Let's say it.
Yeah, of
Let's
course
be
we
real.
can say it.
Because
They really have.
remember when, at first, we started to make momentum, of acknowledging and doing welcomes and things. And white fellas straight away are like, I don't know how to do that. I need a script. And so raps and these corporations and businesses and governments started to write, can you write some? Hey, I remember getting asked really early days going, Carly, is there something like I could say? Like, would you suggest? And I'm like, just like do some research, but they just want a script. And now you see so many people, and I'm currently working in a place that does the script acknowledgement. And some people will, if they've got any smarts about them, they'll actually go and research and know who's in the area, maybe get some, interesting facts about that place, or they'll get some knowledge and they'll do an acknowledgement with some meaning, as opposed to somebody who's just gone, well, I've got to go in and find where that acknowledgement sits on our page at work and get the wording and read it exactly how it is, because I've been asked to do the acknowledgement this week.
Yeah, and so that's why that was my pet hate, and so that's why I started doing acknowledgement of country workshops, just because I was like, I don't want to be in a meeting where I hear a non-Indigenous person read off this template. And the template's great. Like, don't get me wrong. If you want to do a template, do a template. But like, if you actually want to do it properly,
go off the template a bit.
The responsibility is for you to learn what that looks like. I don't think I've ever done the same acknowledgement of country in my life. Like sometimes I have a planned one, but never even goes to plan. Like I've written acknowledgements out like word for word, like, okay, this, because I'm getting nervous about what I'm going to say. And then I'm like, I don't know why I wrote that out. I might talk to some of the points on it, but there's no way I'm reading it word for word, however that looks like.
No, I totally get it. Like, an acknowledgement is nice, but just don't be lazy with it. Don't just go off the template. Go, if you're listening and you're like, well, how would I know? Like, you can. We're in 2025. Even Uncle Chatty knows. Just go and find out on ChatGPT,
Uncle
bro.
Chatty, how do I make this
That's
about slides? That's where I was going with it. So one of the coolest ones I've heard for an acknowledgement from a non-Indigenous person, he was a surfer, old fella, surfer, super conservative. We did this workshop together, and he's like, okay, Aaron, I've got an idea. It's like, I probably don't look like it, but I've surfed every day for the last 50 years. I was like, oh, really? Rich just felt like loaded. Like, this lad's been a head honcho of organizations for however long. And he goes, and whenever I'm in the water, like, I feel like I'm part of the ocean. I was like, yeah. He's like, is that what it's like to be Aboriginal? I was like, oh.
Oh, okay, concept.
Like, Okay, uncle.
Okay,
Yeah, okay.
connection.
Yeah, okay, connection. And then so the first time he used it, he was like, for those who know, I've been surfing for, however many years. And when I'm on the water, like I feel like I'm one with the ocean. And like that's why I love surfing. And I just want to acknowledge that we'll say the tourable people have always had that connection, but not just with the water, with the land, with the sky, and with the places they are now. And so I think it's a really special connection, and I want to pay respect to that. And people are
Oh,
like losing their minds, like this is the most amazing acknowledgement. But all it
that's a
was,
concept I can get behind. Yeah,
yeah, you know
that
what
was
I
my
mean? Like
white
this,
person
yeah,
voice, by the way.
yeah. That's crazy. But like that's one of the like that was a genuine connection that he had,
Yeah.
and so he managed to turn you reading his template. He had to read a template, and it was always boring. So,
Yeah.
and then he's like, okay, like I get it now. He's like,
It's not
that's
that
how it feels.
hard. It's
Yeah, it's
really
not that
not that
hard. Yeah,
hard.
but it's
But
pretty
good on
cool
him. That's good. I really like that that way of connection and that he found that, in himself to do.
in
So,
himself. Yeah, and then
yeah.
acknowledge. Yeah, like he said, like I just want to acknowledge that this is how blackfellas feel for everything. Like I have like one little connection,
Yeah.
and I've held on to it tight, and it's really special to me. So I couldn't imagine how that felt for blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I was like, that's probably the most left-leaning woke thing he's ever said in his life. But he actually felt it and he meant it,
Yeah.
and I was like, that's pretty cool.
And then he probably went home and rocked in the shower because of it. No, that's
He's like, oh no, they've trained me. I've got to pierce my ear and
oh my
sing punk rock
God.
now.
Does this mean I have to march? God damn it. No. But this is the thing, right? We're not asking a lot. It's like, it's just
No.
the acknowledgement
Just the bare minimum.
just the bare minimum. And it's in our generosity, just take a moment to appreciate that and respect that, like we do
Yeah.
for other things every other week as mobs.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it's a big topic, brother, but I'm sure we'll keep talking about welcomes to country and acknowledgements.
Oh,
'Cause
it'll
keep
come up
coming
again,
up.
definitely.
Definitely.
Deadly.
Culture killers.
Deadly.
Deadly.
Stop it.
Deadly.
Culture killers.
A deadly
Deadly.
thing.
Deadly.
Stop it.
Deadly.
Culture killers.
Culture Killers is back, and we're
Yes.
talking about one of the number one culture killers in the world, old President Del Trump over there in the USA. So we want to do a bit of a
Not
USA
Timu
health
Trump.
check. Pardon?
Not Timu Trump, the actual Trump too.
The
right?
actual
Yeah,
Trump,
yeah,
not
yeah.
Timu Trump, not the old game and potato head here. We're talking about, we want to do a health check on the USA. And the reason why I want to do a health check on the USA is I've seen a social media trend that I'm absolutely living for right now. And I think that's what the young people say. And they're doing the taco dance.
Oh,
And
do
if you
tell.
haven't
What is
heard
this?
of the taco dance or wondering why I'm talking about tacos, it is Taco Tuesday in some places, but the reason why I'm saying it is because that's what the stock market is now calling old Donald Trump, calling him Taco Trump. And if you're wondering what that means, it means Trump always chickens out. And
Oh.
this is really hurting his ego because they've said a number of times, he went to go big deadly tariffs on somebody and then backed
Yeah.
out. And he said, oh, no, I'm going to do this. And he's backed out. So all these times he's like
Yeah.
playing the big tough, oh, I'm going to put $200,000% tariff on China. And it lasted like
China.
however long.
Where's
China.
the wall? Like, where was the wall that he was
Yeah,
going to
yeah,
build? Like, there's
Yep,
so
the
many things
wall.
that he's talked up and people believed
Yes.
him and they got him in the office.
Yeah.
And then he just doesn't ever really get there. Sounds like some
Yeah.
ex-boyfriends of mine. But he's he is interesting, isn't he? Like, I think we've watched since February. It's also now June. Can you believe that? We've watched the states go through like craziness. We thought we'd just
They're
do a
going through
little
hell at the
check-in.
moment. Let's be real. Like it's just been one thing after another. But I just like if you're online, if you do have a social media account, have a look at Taco Trump and just look at some of the dances and the songs that are coming out because
Really?
it is highly entertaining.
I need to get on this. Where do the kids watch these things these days? Where do they go?
I think it's on the gram or on the talk.
Oh, the tickety talks.
call it the
Okay. The tickety talk. You know I hate TikTok, brah. You got to make me get on there to see it.
Everybody hates it. But
Do they? Do they though? I feel like there is like 1% that really love it, and then the other side is like, eh. I'm not
Yeah.
scared of it. I just don't like it because the algorithm just gets out of control, and I'm like, there's too much
Yeah.
going on. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the reason why you would love it and hate it is because of the ADHD. So
Yes.
it's like it's the perfect
Storm.
algorithm for your brain. So us
Yeah.
undiagnosed and diagnosed ADHDers know that then little clips,
Mm.
sometimes there's a nice long form of TikToks, but there's little clips they get you, and the next one gets you, and the next one gets you.
Yeah, it's the endless scrolling for me. I just don't have time for it. And it's also the misinformation and like everyone
So much.
is a winner on TikTok. I hate that everyone's a
Mm,
winner. I hate that like everyone's a performer and everyone's a star. No,
yeah.
you're not. Just because you have a phone, you're not a star. See, now I think I need to like unpack my hate with TikTok a little bit more on another episode, but that's why I generally stay away from it. But I will watch the Taco
The
Trump.
taco Trump thing. Yeah.
Ay, ay, ay.
But yeah, I think so. I do want to go back to the health check of the USA right now. So at the moment, they're trying to cut Medicaid, which is like our version of Medicare and healthcare for those who are from different countries. So they're trying to cut that for a few million of the poorest people, and they're trying to increase tax cuts for the richest people, which is exactly what he said he would do. And there's a bunch of other things that is happening around the courts because the courts are pushing back,
Yeah.
and so now we're trying to bring in some legislation around not being able to appeal him in court because he's already got immunity from the highest court in the land. They said that the president can't be charged with things what they do while they're president.
Which he
So
made, didn't he? Make that law?
yeah, he asked them to, yeah. So
That's
he put
crazy.
the person in that gave them a majority, and so now they can pretty much do what they like. So it is going very quickly towards a very scary place.
Is he going to
But
last? Do you think, like,
well,
will he be alive? Like, I mean, we've had
that's
assassinations
probably our
of.
last. That's probably our last hope is that his health checks out because he's already wearing a nappy. I don't. Did you know that he wears nappies?
No, you're lying.
He does wear
Sorry.
nappies.
What are you
It's
talking about? What do
he
you
wears
mean?
nappies. You should go look at that on TikTok as well.
No, see, this is the
He
misinformation on TikTok that I'm
he
talking
wears he
about.
wears he wears nappies.
How? Man
It's a fact.
nappies,
It's a man nappy. Yep,
big boy pull
man
ups.
nappy.
Is that what he's
Yep.
wearing? What do you.
Yeah. I'm telling you, go.
How and
His own
why? Why?
his own staff has said it because he had a drug problem or something. Now he can't control his bladder.
Okay, so it's full
Um,
incontinence. So it's full
yes,
incontinence is why he's not. It's not because he's just lazy to go to the toilet or he's busy. He's just like,
That's probably how it started.
I'll just
But
pee in my
yeah, no,
pants.
it's proper. It's proper. Wears nappies. Like
God.
don't if you don't believe me,
Jeez.
don't go on TikTok. Google it.
Look, I don't want to laugh because that is a problem
It's
for
a serious
people.
health
I
issue.
thought in my brain, I thought it was like he's at a lot of meetings, so he's just going to pee in his pants because he doesn't have time. He's the busiest man on the planet. Like that's how my ADHD brain took that, not because of his age and incontinence.
His drug use has led to some serious
Fair enough.
health issues.
You know the wildest thing that he said though in the last couple of weeks is
What now?
I know one of the wildest things I've seen him say is that he's not ruling out that he might pardon P Diddy.
Yeah,
What in
it
the
wouldn't
heck,
surprise
bro? It's
because it's all them. I don't know what the word for it is. Spiders. All the rock spiders are all
all the
looking
rock
after each other.
spiders. Oh my god, it's crazy. And what about his breakup this last week and a half with Elon? Elon.
Yes, yes. Did you see the videos of him on the ketamines?
When the ketamine hits, I saw that and the eye
Yeah,
rolls and the
the eye
woo,
rolls and the thing. It's like this lad
bro.
is. He was having a great time in his brain. I don't know where he was, but he wasn't in that White
Jeez.
House.
How does he get so many things done? Is it because of the ketamine or
Well,
is
that's what they're
it
saying. Like
right?
he takes I think it's ketamine, psychedelic mushrooms, Adderall, and
Jesus.
a little bit of ecstasy. So there's like some sort of combination that he's found that
Dabbling
helps
in.
him, like keeps him up and keeps him going and keeps him creative and blah blah blah. So that's his thing. Like that's his
Meanwhile, Kanye's not on anything, and Elon is on all the things, and yet
yes,
there's two of the most creative, crazy
right?
geniuses on the planet. That's
Yeah.
scary.
And I don't know how creative Elon actually is, but I do know that he uses a lot of drugs to stay awake and to try to get shit done.
That's
Good. A
yeah.
lot.
God,
But some of the tea on him is that he's literally just bought the right things. That he just bought things off people and then took
you reckon?
credit for it. Yeah,
I think
I don't
he's
know
a
if he's.
smart human.
I,
Like he has to be smart. He's got to be one of those people that are probably above average smart, but just as
He's definitely above average smart. He's just not the genius that people say he is, because most of his ideas are other people's ideas.
yes. Well, the breakup in the White House this week was something to watch when he's
Mm-hmm.
standing up there, and then Trump's like, and then he had a black eye. Did you see he had a black
Yeah,
eye?
I reckon he said he told his kid to punch him, and his kid punched him, which makes sense. His kid's a spoiled little shit. Well, he's got 70 of them, but the one that he,
God. But how about the fact that he didn't even last, what, like 4 or 5 months in that
yeah,
role? So
yeah,
he's just
he,
come in and
his
then,
Tesla
yeah.
stocks crashed. His other, like, he's losing money hand over fist. In Europe, they're just refusing to buy Teslas.
Who do you think made that decision? Was it Elon to go, Trump, I've got to get out because I'm losing money left, right, and center? Or was it Trump going, you're trying to be the president, get out of my life? Who do you think
Probably
made the call?
both. I reckon both. I reckon they've been having creative differences for a little while, and then there's some rule that says he can only be in there for a certain amount of time. And originally they were saying, "Oh no, we're not going to follow that," but then they followed it.
But this is the thing, right? Again, with Trump, Elon's going to come in and we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and then pulls out of that, doesn't do
Yeah,
it,
chickened out again.
chickened out.
We're saving billions. Blah 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 blah. But it is an interesting thing to see how many people come in contact with Trump that end up worse, and he's like, that's how he lives. Like he leeches off people. He's like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this and la la la, and he's getting bribed with $400 million planes and cryptocurrency. And
That plane, though, can we talk about the plane that the president got from, who was it, Saudi Arabia? Is that who?
yeah, somewhere over there,
Saudi,
Qatar
I
or
think
something.
Qatar, yeah. They have offered a plane, and I love how he's like, if you would have offered me a plane, I would have taken it. I would have taken it. I would have taken it.
Yeah.
What in what like right mind does the president of the country accept a gift like an airliner when they had 9/11? Like, does
Yeah.
anyone not like
Yeah.
see?
Meanwhile, Obama's saying no to like jewelry. Obama's like,
Right?
no, I can't take this. This is not acceptable. I'll make it accept on a plane.
You can't take anything as any sort of politician. You can't be seen as getting bribed. And Trump's like, I'll take that plane. Yeah, I'll take
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
That plane could have a bomb in it. That
Could
plane,
everything in it.
they could have every spies. They could have put in could be running
Yeah.
by ChatGPT. Who knows what they got on that plane? All right.
And
knows?
the president from South Africa met, and they tried to
That's
he
who
tried
it
to do
was.
that thing where they
eh?
ambush him, and he goes, "Oh, if only I had a plane. Sorry, I don't have a plane to give you."
I would have taken it if you would have got a plane. I would have taken it.
Yeah,
Man,
yeah.
what's a gift that what should the Prime Minister not get if they offered it? Like, if somebody offered something to old Albo and he just accepted it, could you imagine? Like, you can't do
Yeah.
that.
They get in trouble for. So I guess when I used to work for government, we had to we couldn't even
Claire.
accept like a block of chocolate,
Yeah.
and then you'd see ministers going to like football games for free, and then you see these other ones, getting flown to India for weddings and all this other stuff. You're like, okay, that's interesting.
They all do it,
But
right? I think
they all do
Trump
it.
is just the one that's like very public about it. Yeah, I accepted that plane.
He's just taking it to the next level. Like he's honestly just like, here's my cryptocurrency, buy as much as you want. That if anybody else had done that, it would have been, it's illegal, you're getting arrested. But he's literally said, well, this is how
That's how I
foreign
roll.
powers can interfere with their prices, because Russia can be like, I'm going to buy $3 billion worth of cryptocurrency. Oh, okay, thanks, Russia, I love you.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the thing I do love about social media is, and obviously I try hard not to be stuck in the bubble, but some of those videos, like he creates the best comedy,
He really
because
does.
it's real life, which is scary. You know what I mean?
Scary.
Like
Yep.
they're making jokes, but sometimes they're just basically just like straight quotes,
Have you
and
seen?
people are just like, "This is the dumbest shit I've ever heard." And like, "Oh, that's actually from the President
Yeah,
Trump."
that's what
Oh
I'm
no, then obviously it's amazing. You know what I mean? Like
Have you
I
seen the
love that
latest?
stuff.
The latest trend that I've loved is seeing like Trump speaking. They just put Seinfeld music behind it. Have you
Yes.
seen that?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it is just pure comedy. The content, and this is why I think we talk about him on the show, because even it's real life. We're going to look back at this one day when we're old and grey, and like we've lived through the Trump era. Like that's crazy
Yep.
to me.
Yep, exactly. I 100% agree. I think we're going to look at the way our government's handled the Israel Palestine thing and handled the Trump thing, and then be like, how did people?
What the hell was the world then?
What the hell was the world then? So
Our
that's
generation,
obviously a
man.
big, yeah.
We got COVID as well. Like,
Yeah,
we've been
we
through
had
some
the
changes.
2000, the 1999. What was that thing? The
Oh
global,
yeah, the millennial
what
bug.
they call
Was that what
the millennial
millennial?
bug. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, millennial bug,
Wait, for the
millennium
people
bug.
that are too young, which I think we've got a couple of them that listen to us, but majority are like
Yes,
small elders. Nah. But for the young people, that was in 1999. There was a rumor going around that the world was going to shut down come
yeah.
midnight 2000. Remember
When
this?
when some of you were too young to even make it to midnight, some of you might not even been born. Some
Some
of
of
you
you
were.
might not be born.
Some of you weren't making it to midnight. We were there like, okay, when the world ticks over to 2000, it's going to
Yes,
crash because all of our computers weren't really ready for 2000. They were built to go to
that's it.
1999. There was no two.
There was no two. So I don't know how that rumor kicked off, but it went all around the world. And I remember being in Innisfail in 1999, and I was 14 years old. And I remember just going, I got to stay up till midnight because everything, like, the world's going to crash. Like, nothing
Yes,
happened.
I'm slightly older than Carly, so I was
How old were you?
partying. I was
Come on.
partying my life away. I was like, oh, if the world's going to crash, then I might as well be drunk while I'm
Yeah.
doing it.
Yep.
So
Fair.
that was cool. Good
So
times.
we've lived through that. We've also done 9/11. We've lived through 9/11.
9/11. Yep.
COVID,
COVID.
and now the Trump
Yeah.
era. Come
Trump
on,
era.
give us a break. What else is going to happen? Chat GPT now, which has changed the world. Social
Global
media,
financial crisis.
global financial crisis. Facebook changed the world. I feel really old.
Snapchat.
Shit. Not the
Snapchat.
Snapchat. Get out.
Snapchat broke up 70% of marriages.
That's why it's not on my phone anymore, the friggin' thing. Yeah, interesting. But there you go, the States. We've got to check in every couple of weeks just to see how they're going.
Yeah, yes, I reckon every month or two we'll just check in and just say how's things going over there, and we might get a correspondent in one day and just have a chat about how they're feeling. I know a few people over there playing basketball at the moment, so I'll just check in with them on the ground and say, what does it actually look like for you?
Yes, maybe the Cabillos and the Onuses over in New York can jump on one day, Jasmine.
That would be amazing. I'd love to hear how New York is going.
New York. All right, brother, that sounds good. Let's keep that in our back pocket and we'll check in.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
I like that.
Interesting. All right, we'll catch this mob next week. Make sure you give us a follow on Instagram, maybe TikTok, blah, blah, blah. We'll catch you next week.
Give us a comment too. Yo.